More harrowing stories are emerging from those migrants who've survived their attempts to reach Europe from Africa. In the past few days, as many as 700 people are feared to have drowned trying to make the crossing from Libya. And one UN official has warned Europeans to expect millions more people to arrive. As Anne Barker reports.
An Italian Coast Guard crew shouts out to a group of migrants on a dangerously overcrowded boat in the Mediterranean. Coast Guard officers begin taking children to a nearby rescue ship. Scenes like this have become a daily reality on the seas between Italy and Libya. In the past week alone, around 14,000 migrants have been rescued from boats like this one. But about 700 people are feared to have drowned.
The survivors of the last shipwreck were in a precarious condition. Among the people we rescued, there were several pregnant women. One of them was 8 months pregnant.
Rafael Martino, the commander of the Italian Navy ship Vega, says those aboard one ship were in a terrible state.
We rescued many survivors in a state of hypothermia, and obviously they also had bruises and lacerations. Of course, the ship's medical personnel gave first aid, and we are now waiting for the land-based personnel to give further assistance.
In the worst disaster, a fishing boat carrying about 500 people was towing a second boat with a similar number which didn't have an engine. As that boat began taking water, some on board dived into the sea to swim to the first boat. As the rear boat began sinking, the rope was cut, but under tension it whipped back and slashed the neck of a woman, killing her. One survivor described the tragedy.
We tried to save everyone. It wasn't possible. All the children, some were already dead, some jumped in the water, some swam. The situation was out of control.
Italian police say 300 people were trapped in the hold of the boat as it sank, while 200 on the upper deck jumped into the sea. About 90 of those were saved. Most of the survivors were from Eritrea, including many women and children. Giovanna Di Benedetto from the aid agency Save the Children says at least one child was orphaned. It looked like she was a 4-year-old Eritrean child alone because her mother died of a car accident a few days before embarking, and then during the disembarking operation we found 2 of her uncles and therefore she was given to them, she said. One United Nations official, Michael Moller, has warned the migrant influx from Africa is only going to accelerate. He's told Britain's Times newspaper that millions more refugees could arrive on Europe's shores. But he's accused EU leaders of pandering to xenophobia and racism by failing to share the burden of refugees among them. William Spindler from the UN's Refugee Agency says the number of migrants crossing the Mediterranean since January is in the hundreds of thousands.
So far, 200,000 people have crossed the Mediterranean this year. And in the case of Italy, some 40,000 have arrived since the beginning of the year. And before this latest tragedies, about 1,700 had already been reported dead or missing.
And William Spindler confirmed hundreds of migrants may have died at sea in recent days.
The reason why so many people are taking to sea at the moment and risking their lives is because they have no option. We have to give them the possibility to travel legally and safely.
That's William Spindler from the UN High Commission for Refugees, ending that report from Anne Barker.